It has been a day. I have a story to share. Um, this morning I went in the kitchen and noticed that in his favorite spot, Ollie had pooped overnight. He has a spot, and it was in his spot. And those who already know me know that I am a germaphobe, not anywhere near like I used to be. I think my level of germaphobe used to kind of tiptoe over into OCD. I've worked on it a lot over the years. I will now eat a sandwich without washing my hands. But the idea of poop in the kitchen, I guess I should be grateful that it's in the only room that doesn't have carpet. Or I guess he could poop in the bathroom that doesn't have carpet. I would appreciate it. It'd be easier to clean up. Anyway, there was poop. While I was looking over here, there's poop on the floor in the kitchen. I noticed that my aloe vera plant was sitting in water. So come with me for a second. We're going to go on a rabbit trail. I love plants. That's another thing. Okay, so those who know me know that I've got a germaphobe streak, and I love plants. Oh my gosh, I love plants. They make me happy. My favorite plant in the world is one that used to be my grandmother's. She gave a cutting to my mom, and I have some now. It's a begonia, and it's the old school kind, so it's not like curly leaves and fancy. It's just a you can't kill it angel wing begonia. And my mom gave me a cutting, and I've got 3, 4 places that it's growing now. It's the easiest thing to root. But oh my gosh, I love plants. My sweet daughter-in-law. She she tries to corral me when it comes to plants. We were shopping together once. We were going to Kroger, and Kroger had marked down a lot of their orchids, and they're gorgeous. But I mean, they had already bloomed, and Kroger's floral department, they only stock stuff when it's in bloom so you can give it to a friend. But it was like it was 99 cents for these really gorgeous orchids and mini orchids. And I don't have mini orchid. So, this is me, the adult, going, oh, I need this. And my daughter-in-law, who has been in my house and knows the situation, she said, no, you don't need this. You don't need this. And she was patting my hand, but no, I need this. Like, I need this. I already had 2 of them in the cart, and I was just like drooling over the whole collection of what was available. My sweet girl's mom, I don't think you else. And I mean, she's totally right. And my brain recognizes that, but my heart doesn't. So I brought home the mini orchid. I compromised. I only got one. But plants are like my favorite most thing. And there's just something really nice about something that's green and growing. And I don't know, can you have a friendship with a plant? Um, Oh, Trader Joe's gets me all the time. I can't go into that store without first going through all of they have some crazy good plants that are hard to find, but when Trader Joe sells them, they're really tiny, so you'd have to let them grow for a long time. Anyway, back to the original story. I'm looking at this poop on the kitchen floor, and it's doing things to my heart. And while I am pondering life and looking at poop on the kitchen floor, I noticed that my aloe vera plant was in standing water. Like it sits in a saucer that's that deep. Well, the water was this deep. I had watered it. Okay. Confessions of a plant mom. It had not been watered in a really long time. Like aloe vera is a desert plant. You're supposed to leave it alone for a long time and then water it so heavily that it sits in water for like 24 hours because that's what happens in the desert. There will be no rain forever, and then, buckets of water all on one day. So I watered it. This was like 911 situation. This thing's about to die. I couldn't even keep an aloe vera alive. Um, so I watered it, poured a bucket of water into this thing. It drank up every bit of it. And so the next day I poured another bucket into there and then kind of got busy with school and got distracted. So anyway, it's now been standing in water for at least a couple of days, and that's bad. Like, that's bad. In nature, it doesn't rain and the rain just kind of stands there in the desert. It drains and it goes back to being completely bone dry sand. So I'm stressed out because there's standing water in my aloe vera. And I go around the table and I try to pick it up. Well, it's in this little planter tray thing that's full of this much water. And the thing it's sitting in is really flexible, like really flexible. It's not intended to be picked up and moved. So I got a plate and I figured I'm gonna do this big switcheroo thing where I'm gonna pick up the aloe vera and then I'm gonna swoop under it. It's dripping water the whole time and I slip the plate underneath it and it's working. The plan is working. Okay, I've got the aloe vera on the plate. It's not it's not dying at this point. It had kind of revived from the water that it did have. I think it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna move the aloe vera first and like put it on a different countertop, and then I'll come back for this little tray that's full of muddy water. Okay, at this point, I go, where's my toe touching? You already know. I was touching poop. I was barefoot. I was touching poop. And you already know that I screamed and jumped back. And when I jumped back, the other foot stepped right on top of a turd, right onto a turd. And so, of course, I jumped again. And when I jumped, the turd stuck to the bottom of my foot. Okay, so like the arch of my foot, it stuck to my foot. And so when I jumped, and it stuck to the bottom of my foot. I flung it across the kitchen. And, oh, yeah, so I had herd germs on the toe of one foot and on the sole of the other foot. And I'm just like, my brain is on fire. When I jumped, two branches broke off of my aloe vera. Like, this, my aloe vera is gonna survive, right? And so two hunks of it, I'm gonna try sticking them in soil and see if they root. Well, A third one broke off on the far side of it. It kinda has some roots. It might live. So, I'm standing here holding an aloe vera. I've just done a little tap dance and flung poop across the kitchen and broken my aloe vera. And I'm trying to figure out which emergency to deal with first. So I set my poor, sad, neglected aloe vera down and I hobbled across the kitchen using the parts of my feet that had not come in contact with poop over to where I keep my little Clorox disinfecting wipes. And I scrubbed my toe and my other foot and then went back to clean up the poo because I figured that was more important. I mean, let's just get our emergencies in order. So I did the thing where you clean up the dog poop and went in the bathroom and I opened the toilet, the lid up, and come back with toilet paper. I'm gonna pick up and a disinfecting wipe. So I would like pick up the poop and then disinfect and wipe and then go over to where the poop was originally and disinfecting wipe and yeah. So then I take it all to the toilet. Well, what we've learned is if you put a whole load into the toilet at one time, the dog poop clogs the toilet. I guess because never mind, we're not gonna hypothesize about that. I didn't want to clog the toilet, so I am holding the toilet paper that has turds in it over the toilet. And of course, that means that I'm like leaning over and I released the toilet paper just a little bit. And the first turd to hit the water, the toilet water, splashed. I'm pretty sure that's a science thing because once water is moving, you can drop stuff in it and it won't. There's science in there somewhere. It splashed in my eye. The turd toilet water splashed into my eye and onto my cheek. Now, my brain is already on fire and there wasn't a lot of it left. I got turd toilet water in my eye. As a germaphobe, I don't even know what to. I need like psychological first aid. I'm wondering if you can bleach your eyeballs. Ah, at this point, I just didn't even know what to do. So I just had to embrace it and like move on with life.